Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me today is Shekhar Iyer ji, and we are going to be talking about what is happening, what happened in the sixth phase, and what to expect in the next few days as we look forward to the formation of a new government. So now let's welcome Shekhar Iyer ji. Shekhar ji, Namaskar. Ram Ram. How are you, sir?
Ram Ram. I'm good, sir. I'm good. We are almost coming to the end of this elections. Today, the sixth phase was completed. And despite the heat, I would say that polling percentages that are coming, though they are not yet to be finalized, but they are not as disappointing as one would have thought. Definitely in Delhi also, polling picked up in different places, even in other parts of North India, where extreme heat saw people either turning up quite early in the morning or crowding late in the evening. And some of them did venture even in the heat, hoping that the booths would be empty and they can see straight away go and cast their votes. Now, that being the case, sir, we are seeing that with last phase which is left, that is on June 1st, which will cover eastern UP, that is including Prime Minister's constituency of Varanasi and few other places. I think we are almost with this where we would have completed at least almost 480 something we would have done, and rest another 50 would be left. So that is the last phase we have come. But sir, we are also seeing something I think which should worry all of us, that an attempt to set another kind of narrative now that polling is going to draw to close. It has been an extended election, which is to constantly raise questions about the electoral process itself. A process that has served us well for so many elections, a process that has seen change of governments, that process that has seen return of governments, hat tricks, so many things we have seen. But I can see a very concerted purpose behind all these moves. First, we saw with the electronic voting machines, questions were raised about the credibility of the machines, about VVPAT, need for paper trail, matching of paper trail, and the matter was taken to the Supreme Court. Well, in the EVM case also, the Supreme Court did not entertain, because they have heard it at least 5 or 6 times about the credibility of the machine. Until nothing concrete has come to disprove the Election Commission's assertion that it is hack-free, nobody can break into it. Once a vote is cast, it is safe. Supreme Court had saw no reason to entertain such pleas. But there was a purpose. The purpose seems to be that after June 4th, if they have to keep up this narrative going, that there is something wrong with our electoral system, at least in the technology employed in the system, that we can, again say, look, Modi has come back for a third time. It's a mandate that was not conducted under a free and fair method. So the whole idea seems to be also to serve the patrons in the West who would use their, hue and cry to say that Indian elections have not been free and fair. I mean, there is a concerted purpose. That is why we saw something that will not even bother a common voter, about a thing called Form 17C. And this was made into such a big issue that everybody should be provided Form 17C. It should be on public domain. And normally, sir, the Form 17C is nothing. Form 17C is, it is compiled after the final list of electors who have, gone and voted in the various polling stations. And that tells you the figure of the number of voters who have cast their ballot. And Election Commission has been saying repeatedly, once the votes have been cast, nobody can alter that. But because in the first 2 phases, opposition claimed that there was a delay in giving these figures. Actually, there was no delay in the figures. There was a delay in the issue of a press release mentioning these figures. And press release itself was a compilation done at the national level. Whereas, even in the first 2 phases, candidates and their polling agents, after the conclusion of polling on that day, that is at 7 p.m., then later after past midnight, they are given a certificate saying that so many voters have cast ballot in your constituency. And agents of the candidates or candidate themselves come with that certificate to the counting centers on the day of counting. And they match the figure of the total electors and the total votes that are counted. And if there is a discrepancy, they point out. I mean, this has been a routine thing. There are some clerical errors somewhere which are sorted out, but nothing so as to suggest that there is something fishy in Election Commission delaying the finalization of a press release. I repeat, press release of the for the benefit of media, for ease of business for media, because otherwise the media can go to the candidates and find out what is the exact number of votes, because there is also a voter turnout app which updates every 2 hours. And all the candidates have that voter turnout app on their mobile, which they can check how many people have voted and what is the percentage it shows in terms of total voting percentage. But there is nothing. But the matter went up to the Supreme Court. There was hearing. Supreme Court asked some questions to Election Commission. Why can't we just put in the public domain? Election Commission had a reservation saying, look, we are making it available to the agents, the political candidates, different political parties. I mean, there is a system. Now, we don't want to put it on domain and then somebody takes it, somebody comes with another saying, no, this is what you had issued, and try to claim there is a discrepancy. When the candidates and agents have the figures of number of people who have voted, why should there be bigger? Because what the Election Commission fears is putting it on a public domain or on their website. Some people will take a printout and doctor and say this was first shown, then later shown, unnecessarily putting a doubt in a process or a system, so as to create a thing, oh, this election was not free and fair. Because now all that opposition is left is that the only way they can have it as a face-saving device is to try to raise doubts in the minds of voters as to whether all the votes were counted or not. So what we saw was Supreme Court completely threw out that petition, which wanted publication of all these data on a broader level. Supreme Court maintained, look, at this stage when 6 rounds have been completed, we cannot allow a petition that will unnecessarily raise doubts and fears. And what purpose will it be served? And number of electors is no reflection of which party has won or which party. I mean, that data. See, ultimately the votes will have to be counted. But the fact that some best of the legal brains in this country were arguing this case goes to show that whether opposition is looking for some kind of a toolkit that will enable them to say after June 4th, look, we do not agree with the results because this is all jinxed, there is something wrong, it's not free and fair, and so as to raise the doubts. Because they are not sure of their own performance, though they have been making very, very tall claims to say that BJP will not get majority, Prime Minister Modi will not return. Now, sir, today, the Election Commission had to come out with a very strong press statement. A strong press statement which made it very clear that there is a pattern, in creating false narratives and there is a mischievous design to vitiate the electoral process. These are exact words I'm quoting from the Election Commission statement, that there seems to be a design. Keep raising some doubts or the other so that in the minds of the voters you can say there is something wrong with the system. Because the opposition seems to think that if we are not winning, then we have to create this. Otherwise, how do we explain rejection by the people for the third time? Here, our editor has put this Election Commission statement, the press note. Sir, and it said that one point is very clear, that there is no delay in the publication of final voter turnout, number one. Number two, any alteration in the number of votes after they have been cast is not possible. and final list of those who have cast their ballot, of the electors, who have number of electors, is given to the candidates, and that is done as soon as the whole polling process completes and all the figures have been entered by the polling officers. Now, this cannot be changed, and agents of the candidate also get, they are allowed to even accompany the EVMs and other VVPAT machines and all to the closure of voting, and in that even the form 17C is given to them, and a list of form 17C is also taken to the storage room, so that those certificates can be seen on the day of counting. And on the day of counting, agents bring that form 17C to the counting center and compare it with the results. So when the voter app will continue to give you on real-time data as to how many votes have been cast, and which is also extended throughout the day, updated, and finally when it says the close of poll, and that immediately the final figures come. Now, Election Commission has chosen to completely explain this data because it feels this, that there is a very, as itself said, there is a design, there is a purpose to put doubts, and it feels that it must be brought out, and in fact anybody questioning the process is actually harming their own interests, because today they feel that somehow BJP is coming back to power, Prime Minister is headed for a third term, and they are not going to do well in many states, though they have been claiming that things have not worked out well for the BJP, the first round, second round, this community against them, all kinds of narratives they have peddled. And Prime Minister has been actually making a light of it all, saying in some of the interviews he has given yesterday and today that I gave my party men a slogan of 400 paar, 400. And all the opposition got obsessed was whether I will cross 400 or not. Whereas they should have focused on their own ability to win seats and try to improve that ability and capability. Instead of, they were waiting to see whether I cross 400 or not. In fact, as if ultimately it is about crossing 500. 400. No. If one gets 272, one crosses the halfway mark, I am forming the government. And from 2014 onwards, the BJP under Prime Minister Modi has been able to get a complete majority, a full-fledged mandate, not dependent on anybody, including the allies of the NDA. So therefore, this doubt business, but I see a sinister element to this, because it is coming in a very systematic manner. They are employing social media, and sometimes I find they circulate videos and show, like one boy was found repeatedly pressing the machine and showing his hand, that how he has got the ink mark on all his fingers. This is practically not possible, because this was deliberately done in connivance with a particular booth by the opposition in Uttar Pradesh, so as to say that this is what is happening in all over Uttar Pradesh. Sir, all these things, I feel, either the opposition has lost its nerve or lost confidence that they can actually win elections. So they have decided to employ this method. And unfortunately, this, the whole exercise of Supreme Court hearing this matter, then finally saying that he doesn't see any gadbad, he doesn't see anything wrong with this process, because just now they settled the issue of EVM. Now again this one. This whole idea seems to be, create a doubt, see that the doubt and fear spread all over the country, and by the time election commissions get to the act and tries to assure people, this would have gained more traction, which is, saying, since we are not winning elections, we have to do everything to show that this mandate has not been fairly won. consequently, sir, on television debates, I'm hearing many analysts who are sympathetic to the Congress and the opposition saying, look, the elections have to be not only be free and fair, they have to appear to be free and fair, which means as if now it is not free and fair. And some popular people are talking about expenditure. Yes, I do agree expenditures have hit the ceiling now. Election Commission has permitted 95 lakhs, but today a lot of people are spending money beyond that. That is a big issue. But then that involves all parties. It is not one particular party. Well, the answer will be some parties are resourceful, some parties are not resourceful. And some parties, sir, they give money to the candidate, but the candidates don't spend. Particularly Congress candidates realize whatever money they are getting to fight the election, it should be used for their future. So they don't spend money for publicity, for hiring people, hiring vehicles to go around the constituency. They say, okay, party gave me some money, I collected some money. Anyway, I'm not going to win being a Congress candidate. Let me keep this money. This has happened. See, in some cases, people got the ticket and did not contest. So whatever money they would have collected is theirs without spending a single paisa. Now, this being the scene, we are seeing an attempt that there are huge gaps on the ground, which I have discussed several times, sir. Huge gaps in terms of organizational preparedness and preparing the cadre and rank and file for a very active campaign at the grassroots. These are missing on the opposition side to a large extent. So these manufactured outrages and outpourings cannot fill up the gap on the ground. So therefore, we are going to see a result that will be very surprising for us, because for all you know that BJP's target may be achieved also. But definitely one thing is clear, sir, even those opposition leaders who are saying that Modi will win only 240, 220, not past 272. Even they are admitting that BJP will be the single largest party. So I felt that we need to be aware of what is going on, because we are going to hear more of this after the elections. And sir, like all machines that we deal with, in EVMs there are technical glitches, like any machine. Now, every booth is provided with some surplus EVMs. If they are going to have three, in one polling station, there are going to be 3 booths where the EVMs are kept along with VVPAT. They send additional 2 machines also to a booth, so that if one malfunctions, they can put the other one. Glitches are, see, ever since man invented machines have posed problems and challenges, including this EVM. So that's not big deal about it, because even if the polling is stopped because of malfunctioning, extra hour is given to the voters so that they are not deprived of that full voting hour. So this is not a big thing, but sometimes this itself is made an issue, saying that EVM was not functioning. So there is a deliberate attempt. Sir, parties can win election, lose election, but they should not encourage spreading of misinformation, casting doubt on the process itself, because that's a very harmful thing. Because tomorrow, where you are winning, does it mean you have rigged so that you have won? And EVMs cannot be rigged, sir. You have to vote and come out, that's all. Compared to the era where people ran away with ballot boxes, people ran away with ballot papers, they were stamped and then put into the box. Haven't we witnessed these things in the 80s and even early 90s and 70s also? So therefore, sir, I thought we must look at these false narratives that are happening, and it looks like somewhere along the opposition is realizing that they cannot actually win this election. But some of them are privately admitting, look, there is no way you can stop Modi again. But they somehow want this narrative to go on, there was something wrong, it was something wanting. Sir.
Thank you, sir. Very succinct sum up of what's going on. Shekhar ji, kahin na kahin, these people have to start somewhere. See, Congress keeps winning state elections, but they don't try to make that as a symbol of what they can do if they are elected to power. Somewhere it's in their mind that just because we are the opposition or just because we are the primary opposition, our chance will come. You know, it's like this, that, this, that. But if BJP makes mistakes, then they are going to lose. For example, we all knew BJP was rudderless in Karnataka. That is why they lost. And because of some internal politics, they got a dummy kind of a candidate. Bommai means exactly that in Tamil. I don't think it means that in Kannada. But essentially, that's what happened. The man had no charisma, and just he could not deliver. So the loss was inevitable. But otherwise, in Himachal, I don't know, but I think it was bungling in terms of ticket candidate selection because it was a very closely fought battle. So wherever BJP doesn't do that premier type of a bang-up job, they are also losing. People are watching very carefully. But once you get the chance, why are you not proving that we can do better than Modi? It's not like, oh, what is he doing? He's working for the people. Show us a time when you work for the people. There is a sense of entitlement that's always, underlying. This comes very quickly. Nowadays, with Rahul Gandhi, it is becoming very apparent. So is Priyanka when she is doing all this. I'm so-and-so's granddaughter, so-and-so's this thing, so-and-so this thing. What can you do? People are saying time is ticking. They have 4 options now. So somewhere they have also lost the plot that today's voter, today's citizen has a knowledge of a lot of things, and social media has helped to a large extent. You can go and find the data you want in like one click. Some of that may be apocryphal, meaning like unbelievable. But at the same time, you have choices. It's your intellect that determines which you want to listen to and which you don't want to listen to. But anyway, thanks, Shekhar ji. I'm just rambling on here without any purpose here. All I'm trying to say is they have to prove it when they get their chance to govern, and they did not do it. And likewise, now DMK thinks that they can, if they win the majority number of seats, they'll declare victory and call snap poll. And I think they're going to lose. It doesn't matter when, 2025 or 2026, they're going to lose.
Yeah, what DMK leaders are saying is Stalin probably feels that if they manage to win enough, then they must immediately do something. Otherwise, letting things remain as it is, both in the same way the party is functioning now or the way his government is functioning now, it will only encourage BJP's further growth. It will propel BJP to grow further in Tamil Nadu. So therefore, the people are talking of the long pending project of anointing Udayanithi Stalin as his number 2. That's also on the cards. Rather, that is the main agenda, and there could be some youngsters brought into the government as ministers, so that some of the elderly ones who are facing corruption charges could be given some other work. There is a lot of talk on these lines. But sir, coming to the Congress, you are right, because they had the time. 2014 to 2019, again from 2019 to 2024. They had the time, but not the inclination. A lot of time was spent in saying how they will conduct the inter-party elections, and Kharge was the chosen one. Shashi Tharoor contested against him at his own peril, though several signals were thrown to him that he should allow Kharge to get elected unopposed. And they had the time to build the party. They had the time to bring an alternative narrative. They feel, but sir, within the party, now that the acolytes of Rahul are on the rise, they say, no, we have done a good job. We have identified the issues. We have cornered the government. We have cornered the Prime Minister. The issue of unemployment, the issue of plight of farmers who have to face the vagaries of nature. And we have also, and Rahul has taken up the issue of Agniveer also. He did not spare even the area of defense. That's why Election Commission had to write to him and say, look, you have to be careful when you're talking of defense matters. So you can see that Congress somehow did not get the narrative right. I mean, we could sense it. And also the fact, sir, the very big thing that is happening is Prime Minister started this campaign by accusing the Congress of having a manifesto that has the stamp of the erstwhile Muslim League, which actually worked for partition of this country, leaving behind thousands of families shattered and many people dead. More than 50 lakhs population, went from here to there. Now, this very Congress could have, and also what has happened is that this issue of Muslims being given reservation under the banner of OBC was one of the main talking points of the Prime Minister. And as if in support of the Prime Minister's contention, you have seen what the Kolkata High Court has ordered the West Bengal government. That, and it has cancelled 5 lakh certificates issued, OBC certificates issued to people, saying that no norms were followed in identifying a community to be declared as backward in Bengal. And there was a lot of arbitrariness. Some names were inserted. And this was objected to by the National Backward Class Commission also. And more than, almost 68, of course, they added some Hindu caste names also. But the attempt to see that somehow Muslims sneak into OBC quota, a point which was first made by the Prime Minister. He said they want to deprive the OBCs and try to ensure their vote bank remains intact. Prime Minister said that, and Kolkata High Court has confirmed that. This is what exactly has happened in Kolkata. So many committees were given a caste certificate. Now those 5 lakh caste certificates issued by the Bengal government have been put on hold. They have been rather cancelled. That's a very big development. And Kolkata High Court has not taken away anybody's job or anybody who had got a seat and is studying on the basis of this certificates. So what we are seeing is, could the Congress have done better? We are going to ask this question after June 4th. Well, they could have done better. But that would have needed, doing the homework, which is getting down to your district level, getting down to your constituency level, getting down to your booth level, identify the workers who are working, and keep a chain of command, which the bottommost, the booth level worker being getting the prime of place in terms of decisions, in terms of giving a good feedback. But that has not happened. So today, what we see is that wherever Congress and BJP there is a direct fight, invariably the advantage seems to be BJP's in many states. And that is why, sir, today Prime Minister gave several interviews, at least 1 or 2 interviews stand out, where he has lamented the fact that he has not had the benefit of a very effective opposition. Contrary to the impression that he does not want the opposition, he wants to be all in all, he has given a very good response. Let's hear, sir.
दशक से ज़्यादा राजनीति में है, पर एक कुछ लोगों का कहना है कि वो मैच्योर उतना नहीं हो पाए, और कुछ लोग ये भी कहते हैं कि शायद राहुल गांधी सबसे बड़ा एक एसेट है बीजेपी का, क्योंकि वो ऐसी अब बयान देते हैं कि आपको उससे और एम्यूनिशन मिलता है कांग्रेस को एक्सपोज करने के लिए। आपको लगता है राहुल गांधी की जो ये कमी है उसका फायदा?
मैंने अभी तक आपके एक भी प्रश्न का जवाब किसी व्यक्ति के संदर्भ में नहीं दिया है। आपने व्यक्तियों का नाम लिया है, मैं उससे परे होकर के बात करूंगा, और मुझे वो अब मेरी मर्यादाओं का पता है। तो मैं किसी के नाम का आपने उल्लेख किया, इससे मुझे कोई लेना देना नहीं। मैं जनरल वे में आपको जवाब दूंगा। लोकतंत्र के लिए बहुत आवश्यक है कि एक बहुत ही मजबूत विपक्ष हो, बहुत ही सजग विपक्ष हो, और सरकार को तलवार की नोक पर चलने के लिए मजबूर करे, ऐसा विपक्ष होना ही चाहिए। और मुझे इस देश में टैलेंट की कमी नहीं लगती है। इस देश में भरपूर टैलेंट है, उनको अवसर दिया जाए। मुझे लगता था कि 2014 से 2024 एक अच्छा विपक्ष मुझे मिलता। मेरे भी जीवन में कोई कहेगा क्या कमी है, तो अब अच्छे विपक्ष का अभाव है, मैं कमी महसूस करता हूँ, क्योंकि उनसे मुझे कोई पॉजिटिव कंट्रीब्यूशन मिल ही नहीं रहा है। मैं तो सोच रहा था इन लोगों ने 60 साल सरकार चलाई है, तो मुझे सरकार चलाने में सुविधा होगी, मैं जाते आते पूछ लूँगा बेचारे बताइए क्या करना है क्या नहीं। प्रणब मुखर्जी साहब थे तब तक मुझे थोड़ा बेनिफिट होता था, वो अपने अनुभव मुझसे शेयर करते थे, लेकिन बाकी मुझे वो बेनिफिट मिला ही नहीं। तो मुझे खुद को ही, मेरी पार्टी के जो अनुभवी लोग थे उनसे जो मदद मिली, उन्हीं से मुझे अपनी दुनिया खड़ी करनी पड़ी। और मुझे गुजरात का बड़ा मेरा अनुभव था, वो मेरे काम आया। विपक्ष किसी भी प्रकार से काम नहीं आया, और नकारात्मकता इतनी कि देश हित के अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय जो कभी उनकी खुद की पार्टी के मैनिफेस्टो में है, वही आज उनको पॉलिटिकली बेनिफिट लेने के लिए उसे उल्टा करना, ये चीज मैं समझता हूं कि चिंताजनक है। लेकिन मैं इस बात से सहमत हूं कि भारत जैसे लोकतंत्र में मजबूत विपक्ष होना चाहिए, सक्रिय विपक्ष होना चाहिए, और बहुत ही वेल ट्रेड, वेल इन्फॉर्म विपक्ष होना चाहिए। इसका लाभ होता है जी। मैं गुजरात में था सीएम, मेरे यहाँ विपक्ष में जो लोग थे, लेकिन सभी सीएम वगैरह बैठते थे तो उसका एक दबदबा रहता था जी, और उसका लाभ होता था। हाउस में ट्रेजरी बेंच के लोग भी इधर उधर होते नहीं थे जी, उसका बेनिफिट होता था। अभी तो हालत ऐसी नहीं है जी, मेरे दिल में एक दर्द है ये।
There you see Prime Minister
Go ahead.
lamenting. He is lamenting that I don't have an opposition which I can turn to for good counsel if needed. And he is recalling the role played by leaders like Pranab Mukherjee. Because those leaders are gone. Matlab, leaders who could, apart from the election time, who felt that they owe it to the nation to offer their good services, to their experience, to come up with ideas. Sir, even during Indira Gandhi's days, excepting the emergency period, and I think in the run-up to that period, of course, things deteriorated between the Indira Gandhi and the opposition. But even subsequently, after 1980 also, she had rapport with at least a handful of opposition leaders, in the sense she could exchange a view or two if she wanted. And we saw during Vajpayee and Narasimha Rao's time, I mean, there were a lot of leaders who could speak to Narasimha Rao, convey what they want to convey. I mean, not necessarily influence the decisions of the government of the day. Similarly, sir, Vajpayee's period also we saw this. And Vajpayee himself, when he was in the opposition, say during Narasimha Rao's time, he was willing to offer advice when asked to give his views. And we have seen that when Vajpayee came to power, several of the central ministers used to keep interacting with the Congress leaders and other opposition leaders. Sir, you will recall during Manmohan Singh's time, for the UPA won, after the UPA, as it was coming to close, left withdrew support. Then there were elections, and then we saw Congress on its own. That was a period when scams got a full thrust rather. Now, during that period, the nuclear liability bill came, nuclear civil liability bill. And that bill needed to be tweaked. There were problems regarding the culpability of the supplier and things like that. And to which America was having problems, because the American companies involved in nuclear business, they were scared of the getting committed to anything where they would have to pay for in case of a disaster. So the question was how to tweak the bill in order to see that we encourage investments, arrival of foreign technology, but at the same time ensure that companies don't get away, because we are not a banana republic. Now, in the preparation of that bill and subsequently the passage of the bill, rather, I found Arun Jaitley himself advising what clauses to be put. I remember Chidambaram visiting the chambers of Arun Jaitley, or Arun Jaitley visiting chambers of meeting Pranab Mukherjee or even the Prime Minister to give ideas how to strengthen the bill. Now, have we seen such a thing under Prime Minister Modi? The answer is no. Because right from 2014 mandate, the approach of the opposition or the Congress was, we will not let you function. We will not let you pass legislations on matters which we might have ourselves agreed and wanted it in some time in the past. We would have even put it in our manifesto. Now that you are bringing it, that is Prime Minister Modi is bringing it, we will not let you pass this. So this total lack of cooperation and opposition for the sake of opposition, so also saw the relationship going down. And what the opposition could not take was action on some members of their own group who were involved in corruption. Now, that is the thing when the Prime Minister says, I'm missing this. So there is one more clip where the Prime Minister says why he feels there is a need for an informed criticism of the government. Let's hear Sachin ji from the interview gave to Doordarshan.
कभार ये पब्लिसिटी के लिए करना, ये जो परंपरा बनती गई है, उसके कारण आरोप का एलिमेंट करीब 100% आरोप ही चलते हैं। जब आरोप होते हैं तो फिर इंसान एक स्थिति आ जाती है तो आरोप प्रूफ बन जाता है, फिर उस पर इसका कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं होता है। लोकतंत्र का भला इसमें है कि आलोचना हो, लेकिन आलोचना के लिए मेहनत करनी पड़ती है। मानो अगर मोदी ने कहा कि भाई मैंने 4 करोड़ घर बनाए, तो आलोचना करनी है तो भाई सचमुच में 4 करोड़ बने क्या, इस गांव में इतने कहे तो बनो क्या, बने वो जो क्वालिटी बताते थे वो क्वालिटी वाले बने कि नहीं बने, जिसको पैसा देना था उसको उतना पैसा मिला कि नहीं मिला, क्या बीच में कोई बिचौलिया खा, सारा स्टडी करना पड़ता है, वो नहीं होता है। और इसलिए जो लोकतंत्र को ताकत मिलनी चाहिए आलोचना से, दुर्भाग्य से इन दिनों वो सौभाग्य हम लोगों को नहीं मिलता है।
Sir, what the Prime Minister is saying is, he says, look, there is a need for criticism. And contrary to the impression that has been given by opposition leaders, that the Modi doesn't want to listen to criticism, he cannot stand criticism, he is not willing to listen to anything negative, that he is an egotist, that he is totally caught up in his own. Even Priyanka has called him a narcissist. Now, this kind of name calling. On the other hand, Prime Minister says, I had expected, given the experience of the Congress and Congress leaders in administering this country, they would be filled with wisdom. And he particularly mentioned Pranab Mukherjee as a leader who had handheld him when he needed as soon as he came to power. But such leaders have not been allowed to keep that friendly approach to the government, at least on parliamentary legislative matters. Because Rahul never liked Ghulam Nabi Azad, who was leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, because he was seemed to be being consulted by the government. And Rahul Gandhi cannot stand Prime Minister, because they have never accepted the 2014 mandate or 2019 mandate. So the Prime Minister feels, I wish instead of insinuations, instead of just coming with wild accusations, totally bordering on lie or totally lie, I wish I had got the counsel of those people who could have given me some insight, helped me improve my schemes, my projects, my whatever I wish to do for this country, which my government wishes to do. But unfortunately, I did not get that. And he says that is the only thing he is missing. He is missing real opposition. He says the opposition is necessary. And Prime Minister explains, sir, in that interview, DD interview, he says, I have a system where even as a chief minister, I ensured the same pattern, I brought it at the national level. I want my officers, my ministers and others to give me that feedback. that whether what I'm doing is right or wrong, whether the benefits are going down, are they going to the last man on the queue, that is to, I mean, the poorest of the poor, does it reach them? And does it give them some relief? These are the feedback I wanted. And he says, I had instructed the government also, the system, that do not give me all this goody reports. I want what is negative also. So he feels, look, this is what I missed in this parliament, that I don't have an opposition to count upon to tell me where I am going wrong and what is to be done. I don't have that privilege, as the Prime Minister put it. Sir.
Thank you, sir. I had some background noise, so I had muted myself, so it took me a short while to respond back. Wonderful exposition of facts, Shekharji. As always, see, this is one of the things that India needs to work at to ensure that a party rises from all these ashes of INDI that will be responsible, that wants to help the people. There are lots of us who want to help the country in one way or the other. And it's really up to the people to now start looking inward to see who can be that. And I mean, see, for a person who has grown up in Gujarat, speaking Gujarati till he was like 15 or 16 or whatever age, then he started facing other people. He speaks one of the best Hindi I can see, sir. Correct word for correct occasion. That in itself is, the man has something. You can say his degree is nakli, this and that, but at the end of the day, he's able to command the respect of the world leaders. Forget about India. So there is something there. See, what people say is, if you can get to be a minister with some things, but if you want to become the prime minister, you have to have a certain extra edge. I mean, this is something that everybody says it. It's not just India, UK, US, everywhere. That extra edge, who has that? The opposition needs to really start thinking hard. Does Akhilesh have it? Because I see him, because he is from UP, that maybe he can do it, but he needs to change his ways. The way he ran and from 2012 to 17 was just a disaster. Is he going to sit down and talk to some senior people who have the interest of the country at heart and say, okay, where do I have to start doing it again? Because he needs to start from June 4th. In my opinion, sir, he needs to start from June 4th. Same goes for Sachin Pilot if he wants to become the leader of or the face of Congress.
And BJP's preparation for next election will start from June 5th.
Yes.
Because that is how that party is tuned. And you can't fault that party for that.
Sir, I can see 4 or 5 prime ministers in waiting, not 1 or 2. That's what I wrote in my book, Who Painted My Future Bright. People, those of you who have read it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's not one person. There are 3 or 4. Yogi Adityanath, Hemant Biswa Sharma, Devendra Fadnavis, Annamalai. 25, 30 years you can rule. I mean, of course, Amit Shah is also in the play. I'm sorry, I forgot that name. So there are so many people who can do a good job, and they've proven themselves in some form or the other. That's what is needed. That's where these people need to look at. What are they doing? What is it that they have that we need to show? Many of them may be gifted, but there is always a but at the end. That but needs to be erased. So get off of your butt and start working. It's my point.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. But that kind of commitment is not there, sir. See, what they were hoping was Modi would do 5 years and the BJP would get a bad name and then they would get defeated in the election. This was their understanding of the BJP, probably based on its conduct previously. And just that did not happen. Because right from 2014, when Modi ji took over as Prime Minister, he has kept the party busy and act as a tool between government and the people. And sending messages, receiving feedback. And the second thing we saw was, if you start working from day one, you will see that that percolates down to the line. The ministries, the government departments, even now, sir, bureaucrats are already engaged in serious background work. All ministries, all departments, because the Prime Minister has made it very clear. by June 4th, when the new government results come, and June 5th, probably the new government is sworn in, or even a little later, maybe a couple of days more. But after that, it's going to be very clear what are the priority areas, what are urgent areas, and not to mix up the two, and what are important to be done. So that is why we are seeing, sir, the way the BJP has been functioning, getting more and more new people to come to the front and retiring the old ones who have already done 2 terms or 3 terms. And overall, keeping up that hope and inspiration among the youth also. This has been their approach, and this has given them dividends. Sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's take a few questions. In fact, we have a lot of questions. Let's try and rifle through them. Maybe 1 minute or less per question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, HR, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you, Harish Kakaparthi, for your donation. Thank you, 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙀𝘆 𝗬𝗏𝑟𝑎𝑚𝑎𝑛, for your super sticker. Magnet Rangaji wants to, by the way, I want to mention one thing. Your contributions are now becoming a fair amount of our revenue per month. And I'm really, really indebted on behalf of Team PGurus that you think it's important for you to contribute and donate. Please keep doing it, and it's much appreciated, because this is a difficult business. We don't advertise anything else other than what Google advertises. So if you watch something live, then you don't get any interruptions. You get to see the entire thing in toto. So please do keep these things coming and help us, and we'll continue to be faithful to what we think we are doing right. Thank you, sir. Now let's go to Magnet Ranga's question. How can an alliance that so easily fell into a simple trap of ab ki baar 400 paar expect to win, and how did they assume that they will face a world where more complex traps will be set?
Absolutely, Magnet Rangaji. This is the problem today. They were so obsessed with Modi and BJP's performance, they did not realize that their own house had to be put in order. Now, assuming that what Rahul Gandhi sees is that there is a clamor for change, but the other members of the party should work towards that change. I mean, that did not take place. So you saw a lot of outrages, selective outrages, outpourings by the Congress leaders, including Rahul Gandhi, on some local issue or the other, whichever area they were addressing. But in terms of articulating it and to convey to their voters that we are the party, we will do it for you, we will listen to you, that did not happen. Consequently, Rahul did 2 yatras, and one does not. One is not sure how many of those that areas that he covered. How many areas that he covered actually got the benefit of more Congress workers' participation, and as well as a feedback mechanism for the party to plan out areas where they need to push further. If you ask me, I think there would have been none. And even now, what we are seeing is it's more about even now they are having some idea sessions and things like that, which is still about making plans and how to go about it. Though there is just one polling is left. I mean, one turn, the last turn,
one phase,
the last phase. Yeah, last phase is left, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. And I will give you a simple example, Magnetji, of your own state. How did the Congress come to power? They said that BJP was PAY, PAY, Chief Minister, and they said that they were collecting 40% as commission, right? And Bommai, being Bommai, could not shake it off. And now what is happening? I'm hearing that you guys are collecting 50%. So that's not going to win you votes. I think this will be reflected in the Lok Sabha elections itself. 50%, if you're going to take away from a contract of laying a road, then he's going to lay half the road and leave it at that. You're getting ridiculous proportions of corruption now. Next one, please. Rohit Akshay wants to know, Jai Sri Ram, Vijay Mallya mocked the Indian judiciary based on the recent Pune accident that consumed the lives of a young IT couple. Do you see the law changing its course equally for rich and poor?
Well, if you look at the outrage that was caused by the Pune incident, where a spoiled kid running amok with his with that new car, which cost I think nearly 2 crores, and then after partying, fully drunk, not listening to his driver, who said, "I will drop you home," and went and crashed against a motorbike riders, and one man and a woman were killed. And this was in the late hours, very late hours of Pune, in Pune. And subsequent to that, that attempt that was made by not only the father but the grandfather, because it is grandfather who gifted him that car, to see that, to force driver to accept blame, to say that the grandson was not driving the car. And subsequent to that, some pressure was sought to be brought on the investigating cops, so that this boy is let off easily by the juvenile board also. Since he was a juvenile, he was placed before a juvenile board, which allowed him to go home. And also the magistrate, before he was produced, told him to write an essay on road safety, 300-word essay to that brat. Actually, the older method would have been that guy needed a good spanking, driving so rashly and causing death of 2 young people. What a very bright future. Now, since the outrage, we have seen now attempt has been made. Now they have arrested the granddad, they have arrested the dad. So ultimately, in a country like India, people feel those who have political connection, those who have, monetary power, they do try to hijack the system. Of course, Rahul Gandhi in his speeches have been talking about, the system even, and he made a sort of a confession in one of his interviews that during his mother's time or his father's time, that they were also presiding over the system that was not very friendly toward Dalits or towards the poor people. But that doesn't solve problem. The fact is, politicians will act against the high and mighty only if they know that there is a huge public reaction. And fortunately, in this case, there was reaction, and Fadnavis had to rush to Pune, take stock of the situation, and has ordered that this case should be taken to logical conclusion. Sir.
Next question, please. Pawan Kishore wants to know, in 2014, there was aggregated 12% loss in percentage for Congress. It was due to the anger that accumulated over the years, for BJP to lose something of which kind should happen in 2024. I think, first, sir, 1 second, sir. We discussed this in detail in our hangout in the morning at 9 a.m. it aired with Sriram Seshadri, because he had all these numbers out. Of the 303 seats that BJP won, I think 224 or so were won with a margin of 50,000 or more. Today, a typical constituency is 15 to 25 lakhs. That's a huge number. That's why you have to, break it up. 10 lakhs is all one MP can afford in terms of his time. Sir, over to you.
Yes, sir. It has always been pointed out, for you want a regime change, if people have to vote out a government and vote in a new one, there has to be a sustained, severe anger against the incumbent. Now, in this case, people have to be very angry with Prime Minister Modi to see that he does not return. But that has not happened, and none of us have perceived any anger among voters. Yes, there are sections which are disappointed, which expected things to happen much faster, much quicker. But that has not happened. But still, there is nowhere that anger that can cause a big upset. Yes, in some constituencies, local issues are played up, and that probably may result in loss of some seats. But there are also areas where new areas like Odisha, for instance, West Bengal. These are areas where the BJP is looking for a good haul of seats because of the anti-incumbency factors plaguing parties like Trinamool Congress, which have been ruling the roost for a long time. So I do agree with what is said is that there has to be an accumulated anger or pent up anger which should come out in a burst at the time of voting. But that doesn't seem to be happening, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next question, please. Jayagopal Venkatraman wants to know, Shekharji, do you feel that too much democracy in India where anyone can abuse the CG without any proof? And I think it's CJ, Chief Justice, and spreading rumors in Western countries.
Well, sir, we have too much of what I would say irresponsible people who just shoot and scoot. In the sense, they say whatever they want to say. Take, for instance, Mamata Banerjee's reaction to Kolkata High Court order cancelling those 5 lakh OBC certificates. I mean, I cannot believe a chief minister elected but on a popular mandate running a government and today feels that the courts are also doing what is at the BJP's bidding. I mean, how can she even assume and even articulate it? Sir, you can criticize the judgment, not the judges. That is a ground rule when it comes to contempt of court. The concept of contempt of court. But here you can see that and other opposition are keeping silent. Because what Mamata has said about the judgment is nothing short of an abuse. They are just keeping quiet. So therefore, we have a lot of democracy, but we also have a lot of irresponsible behavior on the part of politicians. Sir.
And we did touch upon Samajwadi Party about this thing. Looks like Yogi Adityanath fears that something similar to what happened in TMC might have happened during the SP regime from 2012 to 2017. So he has actually ordered a review of all the OBCs that got added in the past so that he can do a completely detailed analysis. So stay tuned on that. Next question, please. Thank you, Pradeep Tumati, for your generous donation. Lots of violence in Andhra Pradesh. Why are police allowing this? How can a CM force police to be lax at duty? What is the ED central government going to do about this?
Well, we have been hearing that the battle in Andhra Pradesh is not turning exactly the way which Chandrababu wanted or even what the BJP wanted. It has not happened. Or Jagan wanted. So there have been severe violence and there have been even attempts by MLAs. I saw one MLA's video showing MLA damaging and destroying the EVM machine. So that they have registered a case and action has to be taken. So, but Andhra Pradesh is going to give us a very surprising result, sir. That is what I feel. Because initially it was thought that Jagan was on the slide and probably this alliance consisting of Chandrababu Naidu, Chandrababu Naidu, BJP and Pawan Kalyan's Janasena party will be able to make a big difference. But it doesn't look like that Jagan is going to suffer a severe damage because the Congress under Sharmila, his own sister, has not been able to do well. Sir.
Well, we'll wait and see how it goes. CG is central government, I see. Okay, thank you. Next one, not Chief Justice. I stand corrected. Next one, Vishankar VK says, ask Sreeji Shekharji, perfect observation about Karnataka BJP dropping the chance during their reign. Would central BJP do some amends in Karnataka?
Sir, Karnataka cannot be ignored. Though they try to correct the mistakes of the assembly elections, whatever they had done in the assembly elections, including sidelining of Yedurappa without keeping an alternative leadership ready. There were several factors that went in. But definitely, all these states, post-elections, where at the present Congress is ruling, they are going to see some unstable times. Unstable times because that there has been severe infighting among very ambitious leaders, whether it is Karnataka or even other states. So I'm not sure how long these are going to be kept under cap. If the Congress does badly in these elections and cannot even get those numbers which they got last time, then you're bound to see many Congress leaders will start opening their mouth against the leadership, against Rahul Gandhi and others. Sir.
Next one, please. Krishnamurti Hunagund wants to know, the positive role played by ABV and LKA during PVNR regime doesn't get the credit it deserves. For national interest, they stood behind PVNR like a rock. Salute to them.
Definitely, sir. Krishnamurti is absolutely right. We have, I remember that period because I have covered the government very intensively. There were many areas where PV Narasimha Rao used to take their counsel. And that is why when the Babri Masjid was demolished, PV Narasimha Rao's first reaction was perfidy. That he felt betrayed because he had assurance from the opposition leaders that nothing would happen to the disputed structure. Anyway, that is history. But definitely there were a lot of consultations. There are occasions when Narasimha Rao said 𝙤𝙬 and even during the other periods. But what has happened is, sir, now there is under Rahul Gandhi dispensation. They cannot accept a civil engagement between an opposition leader and the government or the Prime Minister. And he wants, and that's a message given to all the leaders also, that they must be in a fighting mode all the time. Sir.
Thank you, sir. And next question. We'll clean up quickly now. Only 5 or 6 questions left. Soham, thank you so much. OBCs, other backward class, EWS, economically weaker section. What is the difference between them? SC, scheduled caste. Why is caste not class? Why word salad can't we just have EWS and non-EWS?
Well, OBCs, we know they have special category that was created post the Mandal Commission. I mean, we know that economically weaker section was introduced before last Lok Sabha elections, and they were upheld by a Supreme Court just a year ago, where anybody belonging to any community who fits into the criteria for in terms of the financial earning of that of a family, they are entitled to approach that quota. But they should not have been, their community should not have been covered under any other OBC scheme or any other scheme. So, and finally it got approved. Opposition had objection to this. Stalin said he will not implement this in Tamil Nadu. And till date,
and he has
not
not
been implemented.
He has not
implemented.
Yeah. So he's in contempt, sir. He's in contempt, of course.
So, well, it meant that anybody could try on a poor, economically poor section. Even Muslims and Christians could have, and some of them have availed this wherever 10% has been given for EWS. Sir.
Next one, please. Thank you, Ravindra Reddy Chelpuri, for your donation. Thank you, 𝙤𝙬𝙤𝙀 ji. Thank you, Ravindra Reddy again. Thank you, Soham, for your donation. Sir, we saw collab between WOKES LGBTQ and Islamists in USA. Can we see WOKES plus LGBTQ plus caste plus minority Sikh and Muslims in coming future in India? This seems the best formula for breaking India 3.0.
Sir, this election, June 4th result will pour cold water to all such conspiracies and plans. Because whatever attempt has been made is to see that there is some kind of a disruption, some kind of a confusion, and so that Modi doesn't get a third mandate rather easily. But situation on the ground, and it is a very fiery campaign, I must say, having addressed more than almost 300 rallies or more, and covering almost all the, almost I would say, for all the 543 constituencies. It has been a different scenario where, whoever may be conspiring, but definitely it is a message to groups like, Islamists and other groups who cannot stand the prosperity of India, the unity of India, But they are also coming to a tethered end, because there is the victory of Modi for a third term will signal danger to all these forces, to all these people who want chaos in the name of social justice, identity politics, or whatever.
Next
Sir.
one, please. Sir, last three, sir. Sorry, it's just there are lots of questions. And viewers, it would really help if you use the hashtag #AskSI. See, my editor in the back end is toiling, continuously trying to not miss a question. Because see, I have 4 or 5 questions that don't have the hashtag. If there is a hashtag, we can easily search on it and then we can add your question. So please help us. Thank you. Karthik Viswanathan says, sir, if constitutional provisions are violated by government, West Bengal in this case, shouldn't there be stringent action punishment? However, there doesn't seem to be any except scrapping of Muslim quota.
Well, the governments are not held accountable. For how can they bring a law which flies in the face of established norms and rules or various judgments given by the Supreme Court? Now, in this particular case, this was a Kolkata High Court judgment, because National Backward Class Commission has been pointing out to the Bengal government that you have included some names, some groups, communities in the OBC list. This is what exactly the Prime Minister was saying. Since you cannot provide religious reservation, some groups have been, smuggled into this list, sneaked into the list of these OBCs, thereby increasing the communities to be covered under OBC, including some Muslims, but reducing the chance of genuine OBC to get benefit out of that quota. Because more the numbers, lesser the people who will get benefit from that quota. But this is a question: is if a government willingly does something which is violation of law, who should be held accountable? The law is just struck down. I do agree with what Karthik is saying, but that is not the way it is. Unless it involves a financial matter, then other investigations come into play. Sir.
This is the list of other backward classes, and you can see how many of them are Muslim. I think this is the list that Mamta added. Keep going, please. Keep going. I think 118 or something like that.
More than 100 definitely. And it was pointed out at that time. National Backward Class Commission objected to Bengal government doing all this.
Next one, please. Thank you, Soham. Sirs, like gender fluidity, transgenderism movement, can we see caste fluidity and transcasteism in the future? Food for thought.
Well, ultimately, I think these are not going to matter anymore, because this will be the last Lok Sabha elections which is being held this way. The next Lok Sabha election is going to see, that is 5 years from hence, 2029, see the implementation of one nation, one poll, and one electoral card also. And it will also see delimitation taking place, so that the seats in parliament will be increased as per the constitutional requirement. After 2026, there should be a delimitation, and seats will be added, because previously there was delimitation, but the total number of seats were not increased. I believe Prime Minister has instructed his officials to work on a formula that will be acceptable to all states. Maybe increase it by 1/3 or by 1/4 the number of seats. And also, next 5 years is going to see the implementation of women's quota. So which means that will going to open up a lot of opportunities for women who are in various political parties, because this is the first time happening, so a lot more will be given an opportunity. So I think it's not going to be the same again. Therefore, all these issues which we are talking today, hopefully will get blurred by the time we face the next elections. Sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Pawan Kishore. And that brings us to a close of today's program. Sir, it took a little longer today than expected. Just amazing amount of response for me. Thanking you all for helping us out by way of super stickers. You guys are too good. No, actually, that's not right. You guys are very good. Thank you so much. I deliberately wanted to make that mistake so that people understand that that is what Baiju is teaching your children. Please don't fall for it. Too good is bad. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Namaskar. नमस्कार।